everybody, and it's the last month review of 2025 for the Ottawa Senators. Where has time gone? We are already in December, although we're recording this in January 26th. When everything seems to be going wrong for the Ottawa Senators, January's review video is going to be brilliant. Not very fun to record, I'll be honest. I'm not looking forward to doing that at all because a lot's happened off the ice and on the ice. But anyway, sorry Sean, stay on track. This is December, and the Senators, well, they had a very, very mixed bag, as they always seem to have nowadays. During the month of December, they went 6-1, and to be honest, they had some pretty tragic results during that time. Before we start, guys, don't forget to use the jump cuts and description, and also give me a follow on Facebook on the Ottawa Senators European fan page, and on Instagram, where I have a similar name but just with underscores in it, as it is on the screen here. But we'll just recap some of the games and go through the results. And then obviously I'll pick out a few towards the end of the video, as I normally do, and touch on some news with the team. The Senators then moved on to the game in Montreal, where Tyler Kleven bounced back in a huge way. He had probably one of his better games of the season so far. Fabian Zetterlund, he continued to impress. He's the last sort of 6 weeks, the man has been on a mission. He scored his 5th goal of the season, and yeah, he looks solid all night, to be honest. I mean, Fabian Zetterlund solid is one thing you look at when you when you look at Fabian Zetterlund, just to see what he's like. But he's absolute unit, isn't he? But yeah, Tyler Kleven bounced back in a big way, did really, really well. The team looked solid all night. Also loved the team effort on Artem Zub's goal in that. And yeah, against Montreal, a team that I was really, really scared of during the off-season, with the additions that they made, and obviously the steps that Lane Hutson's going to make, and Ivan Demidov obviously now in the lineup. But you've got to laugh when you see the Canadiens icing both the Xhekaj brothers. That's 2 positions on the ice with very little skill level, in my opinion. And the Sens came out on the attack on the road, and yeah, I think also Ullmark bounced back during this game. He took a nasty shot off the lower section of his mask in this as well, possibly even off his neck. But yeah, all good. So it was capped off by Brady Tkachuk notching the game winner. Always good to get Brady back on the score sheet as well. The Sens would then hit a 3-game losing skid, where they would lose to New York 4-2. They would then lose to St. Louis. This one hurt 2-1. And they would also then lose to New Jersey Devils 4-3. Yeah, those games really, really stung. Really could have done with those points, to be honest. But yeah, it just wasn't meant to be at all, in all honesty. In the New York game in particular, Ottawa really only put one real period together against the Rangers. They really checked out. Shesterkin, we always get Shesterkins. Any Russian goaltender becomes a wall against the Sens, and he stopped at 25 on the night and just looked absolutely unreal. Unfortunately, Shane Pinto also went down injured in the Rangers game as well, which wasn't great. Yeah, the next game, obviously, we came in against the St. Louis Blues. The Blues, to be fair, it was really, really annoying. We were stonewalled by Joel Hofer, of all people. Yeah, he stopped absolutely everything pretty much on the night. And yeah, the Blues were backstopped to a tight game there, where they took the 2 points. Really, really frustrating, in all honesty. But yeah, then obviously, speaking of frustrating, way too many turnovers, way too many unforced errors. Just saw us absolutely get pounded by the New Jersey Devils on the night. Not really on the scoreboard. It was a very tight game. Ullmark was solid on the night, especially on some of the power plays midway through the second period in particular. He was absolutely solid, turned away a good few chances in that one. We would also get a really, really big win against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Always good to get a win against the Blue Jackets in Columbus. It's one of those teams that they always feel like a bogey team for the Sens. But yeah, to get the 2 points there. We ran out to an early lead, and also just looked solid on the night. Really, really good. Brilliant performance again from Linus Ullmark. How he has the worst goals against sort of save percentage in the league is beyond me, this guy. he comes up with such key saves, and I think I rant on about this in pretty much every video that I do for the Sens, but he's come up huge, and I just can't understand how he's got such a bad save percentage, but really, really hope he turns things around in that department for sure. But outstanding performances on the night. Players like Ridley, Gregg and Perron in particular, they really, really stepped up and were noticeable for the first time in a long while. We then moved on to the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, I mean, the Wild are, you know, just crazy good team. But Levi Merulainen was pretty impressive on the night, but he was caught out by Joel Eriksson-Ek, who scored the winner towards the end. Goals from Cousins and Stützle on the night weren't good enough for the Sens, but yeah, it was a great performance all in, and to be fair, they did really well. It could have gone either way, to be honest, against them. We then went on to the Winnipeg Jets and ran out 3-2 overtime winners, which is nice to see. The team resilience was pretty good as well. The Senators rallied to stay competitive in the Eastern Conference playoff race at about this time. Well, we would love those days back at the moment. We're recording this in January. Amazing performances from Nick Cousins and also Linus Ullmark again. Brady Tkachuk had his best game also since returning to the lineup, which was nice to see. We then, and to be honest, this is when things started to really turn, hosted both Pittsburgh and Chicago for two really, really big wins, to be fair. Really, really big wins. Pittsburgh, obviously, 4-0 on the night. Goals from Giroux, Perron and Tkachuk with 2 saw the Sens take the points on the night, and a shutout for Linus Ullmark as well in the game, where he looked pretty solid, to be honest, making 25 saves on 25 shots. The Sens then went on to play the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, this was a really good game because, to be fair, at times Chicago looked pretty frightening for the Sens, and it did get a little bit worrying at times. But obviously they were without Connor Bedard, who went down injured around this time. Thank God, because he usually always scores past the Senators. Brady Tkachuk would get another 2. Deborah Perron even got 2 in this one, and Timmy Stu and Fabian Zetterlund would get the other goals. We would then record our last win of December just before Christmas, as the Sens travelled to Boston and came out 6-2 winners on the night. A really, really good display from the team. To be fair, they showed a lot of resilience on the night. Every time you're playing against players like David Pastrnak, you've really got to be on point and on guard. But yeah, really good. The Sens were, to be fair, dominant on the night. They did most of their they did all the damage for the first 2 periods, scoring 6 goals, 3 in each period. And yeah, they just looked dominant on the night. There was goals from Batherson, Cousins, Zetterlund got 2, Giroux scored, and also Timmy Stu. Really, really padded out the stats in these games against Penguins, Blackhawks and Bruins. Just before we headed back home to play the Buffalo Sabres, a game that I would have thought we would have recorded a result, but wasn't meant to be, as they went down 3-2. Josh Norris returned to the CTC after the trade last season with Dylan Cousins, but it wasn't meant to be. And we then went off to Toronto. This game really could have gone either way, to be honest. It was just killed off by the Leafs as they scored 3 unanswered goals before the end of the second period. Before then, the Sens looked pretty solid, in all honesty. John Tavares would end off the Battle of Ontario by scoring an empty netter. And yeah, would just cap off a pretty miserable 2 games for the Sens, where I think these were really, really drop points, in all honesty, against the Sabres and the Maple Leafs. And then obviously we would go on to an absolute crushing display against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Sens would outshoot the Blue Jackets 28-22 on the night. And yeah, in all honesty, the Sens, they got booed off at the end. That's all I need to say. It was a huge, huge letdown considering how they played against the Blue Jackets earlier on in the month, when we got a huge 6-3 win earlier on in the month on the 11th, sorry. To just come back to a display like that was something that was pretty concerning, in all honesty. But yeah, so that is the month of December for the Sens. That's the results. Just going to pick 2 games this month, to be honest, that I wanted to chat about in greater detail, for games where I think the Sens really, really had to get results and really put out statement wins. The first one I'm going to go for is against Montreal. The first game, technically the first game of the month. It was just a really, really good display against a divisional rival. You always want to get results against the Montreal Canadiens. And the Sens, to be fair, they never really looked like they were going to lose the game against Montreal, which is good. Coming out 5-2 winners on the night. Always good to get performances from all over the ice. It was a game that obviously saw a lot of scoring for the Sens, by which I mean there was a lot of one-goal games. No one scored more than one goal, and it was also shared around between defence and attack. On the night, Brady Tkachuk, Fabian Zetterlund and Drake Batherson scored, and Jake Sanderson and Artem Zub would also add from defence. Linus Ullmark was also pretty solid with a 909 save percentage on the night, making 20 stops on 22 shots. And he just looked decent, to be fair. The whole team looked decent. It was one of those games, I think I've said this in previous editions of this series, that these are the games that we have to win against divisional rivals. And it also saw Tyler Cleven bounce back in a big way, because to be fair, he had an awful night the game before. He had an amazing setup on Fabian Zetterlund's goal. And he really bounced back in a big way. Fantastic team game, which saw them breaking up many of the plays. Fantastic display from Artem Zub as well. He finished off an absolutely beautiful passing move for his goal, in all honesty. One of the better goals I've seen all season. Sanderson was solid on the fence, and in a game where it was about defence, where we broke out a lot from the rear, Sanderson was all over the place. He would be starting off plays, and then he would be in the attacking end. And I already touched on the Xhekaj brothers playing for the Montreal Canadiens. Like I said, the second I saw them both on the team sheet, I thought this is an easy 2 points for the Sens. And to be fair, they absolutely dominated them on the night, which was good to see. You've really got to get the points on the board against divisional rivals, especially now where at the end of the month we find ourselves pretty low down in the standings, to be honest. The next game I want to touch on is the 6-2 win over Boston. We did touch on this very loosely in the main part of the review video just a minute ago. But the Sens put on a really good display against the Boston Bruins. They never looked like, to be fair, they were going to lose the game on the night. Boston seem to be having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Being honest, when you've got players like Pasternak on the team, and also I think a lot has to be said for Jeremy Swayman. He's really stepped up his game the past few months, and he's looking, to be fair, he's looking a decent goaltender. Someone could actually backstop them to actually pick up a good few points this season. You really need goaltending in this league, and unfortunately that's where at the moment the Sens seem to be struggling a little bit. Like I said, we'll touch more on that in January. That is going to be a depressing video to record. But the Bruins, they've had a bit of a renaissance, to be honest, and to get a 6-2 win, it's always a good thing to beat the Bruins. They're a team that I absolutely hate playing. They've just got skill all over the ice, even with depleted sort of talent that they now have. I mean, just thinking of it, there's only one or two players that come to mind when I ever think of them. So, always good to get a result. It was a solid performance from the Sens on the night, where they ran out 6-2 winners, as we've said. And the Sens, it's always good also to get Fabian Zetterlund scoring in batches. He got 2 on the night. Goals from Drake Batherson, Dylan Cousins, and also Claude Giroux and Tim Stutzler. Just saw the Sens absolutely put on the masterclass on the night. Ullmark up against his old team, made 18 saves on 20 shots for a 900 save percentage. So again, I just don't understand how Linus seems to be getting all this stuff about being one of the worst goalies in the league. Statistically, yes, but he's come up huge for us in 1 point. So, I mean, just look back on all my review videos. Absolutely perplexed how that happens, but anyway, so just some news from the Sens then, to be honest, as we move towards the end of this video. So the biggest obvious news was the Senators announcing on the 28th of December that Linus Ullmark was taking a leave of absence from the team for personal reasons. Now, this explodes in January, so we will cover this more in January. The second this was announced, it was on the back of some disappointing results. And my heart did sink, because I thought, Jesus, we have literally got Levy, Hunter Shepherd as our actual goalie tandem now. Mads Søgaard, it just looks completely checked out. I mean, we'll touch on Mads in the January review, but I was really worried about this at the beginning of the season. Like I said, I think Levy should have been left to cook in the AHL this season. Said this in the season preview video. I think he should have been left in the AHL to cook this season, give him some experience being a starter and a number one. And the Sens should have signed someone else to back up Linus. Someone with a bit of experience, and that has happened in January. The Sens, spoiler, I'm sure you're watching this in January, it's already happened, to be fair. James Reimer would sign for the Sens in January. So, Linus leaving, it was a bit of a bitter pill, to be honest, because, like I said, I think he's really struggled this season at stages. But there was glimmers that he was starting to, get back to some decent form. We've already touched a few times on his save percentages in this video, and I think it's all there for Linus when he comes back. Hopefully he comes back before the month of January, the end of January, but who knows, to be honest. It's all there for him. We just need more confidence in this guy. Statistically, Sens going forward, goals, we're up there. We're scoring the goals. It's just keeping them out, and it's silly plays. But it's not just on Linus. It is on the turnovers that the team constantly does. There was one or two instances this month again where there was turnovers that cost us big points. And the goaltender is the last line of defence at the end of the day. They shouldn't be there. They should be there to make the save, but they're not always guaranteed to make the save. The last line of defence for me is always the defence. And the defence as a whole includes the goaltender. It shouldn't be all on the goaltender. It should be a team effort. If you're struggling breakout wise, you shouldn't be dropping pucks for people to pick the puck up and skate it out, a la Tim Stutzler dropping it back for Jordan Spence and turning over the puck against the New Jersey Devils, which saw us actually lose that game 4-3. Just a simple breakout. Timmy dropped it back to Jordan Spence. He wasn't expecting it. They ran in, they scored. It's just always the way, isn't it? Yeah, so I hope Linus gets back before the end of January. It would be great to see him back playing between the pipes for the Sens, and let's just hope that the guy comes back with a different outlook on things. If it is mental health, it's a horrible, crippling disease, and I'll call it a disease. I've struggled with things myself. I wouldn't ever say that I've had mental health problems, but when you're depressed, it's horrible, and if you're playing in front of millions of people watching on TV and people that pay good money, man, that stress must be absolutely magnified. So if he has been struggling with mental health, which is what it's claimed, Linus, we love you, buddy. We can't wait for you to get back in the crease for the Sens. That was really the only news for the Sens during the month of December, as we finished off the 2025 section of play for the Ottawa Senators. Other than that, key performances, I would just want to say, I usually pick out a performer every single month for the Sens, but I've got to say this month I was most impressed with two players. Fabian Zetterlund continued to score points in bunches, and just his all-round game has massively improved. He's starting to become that offensive powerhouse that we want him to be. Not only is he a big body, but he's also ending up turning out on sort of multiple lines now, playing with a lot of players, getting chemistry up and down the Sens lineup, which is brilliant to see. And another player is Jake Sanderson. I do not promote this guy enough. Jake Sanderson, I think I've touched on it once in this video already. He is all over the place at the moment. He'll break the puck out from the back, bring it forward, and all of a sudden he's around the goal. And he's just been absolutely unreal this season. Every single season he seems to take strides, and he's just gone from absolute strength to strength. And also another shout out to Thomas Chabot. The past sort of 2 months, I would say, and this includes January as well, the guy has been absolutely brutalised. He's my favourite player for the Sens, Thomas Chabot. He's been absolutely brutalised with pucks to the face, high sticks, bad checks, you name it, he's had it. But he's absolutely been a workhorse for this team. He's taken some time off this year once already with injury, but he's an absolute workhorse. He's left it all out there on the ice, and I've got to admit, Thomas Chabot, Jake Sanderson and Fabian Zetterlund have just been absolutely unreal, even though the team's had a real mixed bag of performances. But really impressed with those three in particular, and the Sens had a decent month. Pretty much, like I said, 6 wins, 7 losses for the month, which is not great, but to be honest, as long as we don't carry this massively into January, you've got to have hope for this team moving forward. Sadly, yet again, I didn't actually take a screenshot of the league table at the end of December. Always seems to be the way, but I have found out the points totals. The Sens would finish December with 38 games played. They're 2 games in hand on the Boston Bruins, 1 on Toronto above them, and Buffalo had 38 games as well. They were in 5th. So the Sens would have 18 wins, 15 losses, and 5 overtime losses. So not great. 8th in the Eastern Conference Atlantic, and 41 points from 38 games. So yeah, not great by any stretch of the imagination, but everything is still pretty bunched up above them, as the Boston Bruins would have 42 points and the Maple Leaf would also have 42 points and the Sabres above them would have 44 points. So everything was pretty bunched up. Nothing that a good win streak can't sort out in January, right guys? Because nothing ever goes wrong in January, does it? Does it? Yeah, I'll be honest, like I said, I'm not looking forward to recording the January review. In fact, I have been thinking I might actually record it whilst out on a walk, just to give you guys a bit of a backdrop, and yeah, just to try and sort of do something a bit different. I'm thinking of going down where I live near Portsmouth in the UK, so I'm on the coast, and I might record the next review whilst walking along the seafront. No guarantees there, guys, because, you know, January and February over here are horrible months weather-wise, but if it's a nice day with a bit of sun, I might treat you guys, but we'll see. I need something to uplift you for the January review, because it's pretty bad at the moment for the Ottawa Senators, and hopefully things will change as we move forward. But anyway, guys, hope you've all started off 2026 in a great way. I will see you in January for the next review. Until next time, please feel free to comment, rate and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.